Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to understand the procedure and the steps involved in the process of acquisition of land by the government. So the first step is identification of public purpose, and the next is determination of social impact assessment study, publication of preliminary notification, preparation of rehabilitation and resettlement scheme, determination of award, dispute resolution and appeal. So in last video, we have understood under Section 2, Subsection 1 of the Land Acquisition Act 2013, the purposes and circumstances under which the government can acquire land. So, after the government identifies the purpose, that is, whether to acquire the land for strategic purposes or for constructing houses for the poor or any other purpose which is mentioned under 2, Subsection 1. So, as we have understood about it in the last video, in this video we will start from determination of social impact assessment study. So, these are the major steps involved in the process of acquisition of land by the government. So, let us start from understanding the determination of social impact assessment study. The social impact assessment is not defined anywhere in the Land Acquisition Act, but the procedure for conducting the assessment is defined under sections 4 to 9 of the Act. In general sense, social impact assessment study refers to the process for evaluating the potential social consequences, both positive and negative, of a planned project, policy or development initiative. So, the initiatives which are taken by the government and the effects of that initiative on the society at large, assessing or making a study of that consequences and effects on the society is called as a social impact assessment. So it includes the effects not only on the public but also on the environment. So the effects of the project on the public and also on the environment is assessed by the government before initiating the project. So now let us understand the steps involved in conducting the assessment. So first is the preparation of social impact assessment. Whenever the appropriate government intends to acquire land for a public purpose, it shall consult the concerned panchayat at village level or ward level, municipality or municipal corporation. So, after identifying the public purpose, that is any circumstance under section 2, subsection 1, that is for strategic purposes or for any infrastructure development, after identifying the purpose, the government shall approach or consult the concerned panchayat or municipality as the case may be. That is, if the government wants to acquire land in rural areas, it shall consult the concerned panchayat, and in cases of urban areas, it will consult the municipality or municipal corporation. So, in the affected area and carry out a social impact assessment study in consultation with them in such manner and from such date as may be specified by the government by notification. So, this notification or consultation is done by the government for transparency in the process of acquiring the land and also to take objections from the public. So, as these bodies are the representatives of the public, the government approaches the concerned authorities for any objections or any suggestions by them. And the next clause is the notification is issued by the appropriate government for commencement of consultation and of the social impact assessment study under subsection 1 shall be made available in the local language to the panchayat, municipality or municipal corporation, offices of the district collector, the subdivisional magistrate and the tehsildar, website of the appropriate government. So, the government shall make it available through all possible ways to know the public that it is going to acquire the land for some public purpose and it is going to conduct a social impact assessment for the same. So it is necessary that it shall be made available in the local language of that region so that the people and authorities shall make any objections or suggestions to the government in the process of acquiring the land. So now let us understand what are taken into consideration by the social impact assessment. So the social impact assessment study shall include assessment as to whether proposed acquisition serves public purpose. So the land which is acquired by the government is used for any public purpose or not, and the purpose comes under the definition of public purpose or not is assessed by the authorities. And the next clause is estimation of affected families and the number of families among them likely to be displaced. So the social impact assessment is also examines and makes a report on the affected families, that is those families who are affected by the acquisition of land. So in that, how many people are going to be displaced? That is, how many people are shifted from the affected area to some other area or the resettlement area. So all these things are also calculated while preparing the social impact assessment. And the next clause is extent of lands, public and private houses, settlements and other common properties likely to be affected by the proposed acquisition. So not only affected families but also the lands, public and private houses, settlements and any other infrastructure. Properties includes either government buildings and institutions such as banks, post offices. All those properties which are affected by the land acquisition are also calculated. And the next clause is whether the extent of land proposed for acquisition absolute bare minimum extent needed for the project. So the government can acquire only that amount of land which is required for the project. No excess of land can be acquired. So while preparing the social impact assessment, the authorities appointed by the government shall take a note of the extent of land which is going to be acquired by the government. So for example, the project needs 80 acres of land, but the government proposed to acquire 100 acres of land. So authorities in the report will provide suggestion to the government that 20 acres of land is going to be unutilized and to make change in the proposed acquisition of land. And the next clause is whether land acquisition at an alternate place has been considered and found not feasible. So the government shall all other possible alternative locations for taking up the project and acquiring the land, and from all those locations it shall select a place in which there is less number of displacement and less effect of the acquisition shall be taken by the government for initiating the project. And the last clause is study of social impact of the project and the nature and cost of addressing them and the impact of these costs on the overall costs of the project, vice versa the benefits of the project. So the overall costs which are incurring by the government for making compensation for the purposes of rehabilitation. So all those costs shall not increase beyond the benefits arising out of the project. So under this assessment, the authorities will also calculate the total cost which are incurring by the government, and the authorities shall ensure that the total cost are not exceeding the benefits arising out of the project. So for example, let's say the benefits arising out of the project is 80%, but the total costs which are incurring for acquisition purposes and to make compensation to the affected families and for the displacement is totally costing 120%. So it is not beneficial for the government to take a project at that places. So it shall change in its plans. So the social impact assessment helps the government whether to take up a project and acquire a land in a particular place or not. And the next point is environmental impact assessment, if required, must be conducted at the same time as social impact assessment and not wait for its completion. The environmental impact assessment shall be conducted in parallel or at the same time while conducting the social impact assessment. So the government must ensure that the SIA authority prepares a social impact management plan detailing measures to address each identified impact. So it is the duty of social impact assessment authority for not only preparing the assessment and the effects of the acquisition on the people, but also it shall prepare a measurement plan which shall provide remedies to the people. So after preparing this report is kept before public for public hearing. So the next step is public hearing of social impact assessment. Whenever a social impact assessment is required to be prepared under Section 4, the appropriate government shall ensure that a public hearing is held at the affected area. So, after giving adequate publicity about the date, time, and venue for the public hearing, to ascertain the views of the affected families to be recorded and included in the social impact assessment report. All the suggestions and objections and included in the final social impact assessment report. So, public hearing helps to find out the real and unknown impact of the acquisition for the public. So, Social Impact Assessment Authority, after noting the objections and suggestions from the public, and after finalizing the Social Impact Assessment report, it will publish it to the public and also to an expert committee. So, under Section 6, it is published to the public, and under Section 7 to the expert committee. So, publication of social impact assessment study. The appropriate government shall ensure that the social impact assessment study report and the social impact management plan are prepared and made available in the local language to the panchayat, municipality or municipal corporation, offices of the district collector, the subdivisional magistrate, Tehsildar, and shall be published in the affected areas and uploaded on the website of the appropriate government. So, both the social impact assessment study and the social impact management plan. So, both these are made available to the people in their local language through either panchayat or municipal corporation. So, under Section 6, it is made available to the public. And in Section 7, the same report is sent to the expert committee. After public hearing, the SIA report is submitted to an expert committee constituted by the government. So, the expert committee group consisting of 2 non-official scientists, 2 local representatives, 2 rehabilitation experts, a technical expert in the subject relating to the project. So, this group will further analyze the report. So, the expert committee must give its recommendations within 2 months in writing. So, after public hearing is done and after including the suggestions or objections in the SIA report, it is sent to the expert group, and the expert group shall within 2 months from the receipt of the report shall give recommendations in that report. And if the report is not in favor of acquisition, the government must either reconsider or provide strong justification for continuing the process. So, the expert committee can either accept or reject the report. And if the expert committee rejects the report, the government shall make some changes or have to provide some justification to continue the project. And the next stage would be examination of proposals for land acquisition and SIA assessment report by appropriate government. So, after the report is been examined by the experts committee, it is sent to the appropriate government. So, under Section 8, the government shall ensure that there is a genuine public purpose for acquiring the land, benefits outweigh social costs identified in the social impact assessment. Only the minimum necessary land is being acquired. There is no unutilized land already available in the area. If any land was earlier acquired but remains unutilized, it must be used for the same purpose and recommendations are to be made accordingly. So, all those things which were done by the social impact assessment study, the government once again will ensure all these things. And also, if there are any collectors report and expert groups evaluation of the SIA study, so the government will also ensure and examine any reports given by the collector and also the SIA study. So, after evaluating all these, the government shall recommend only that area which causes minimum displacement, least disturbance to ecology and infrastructure, minimal harm to the affected persons. So, in which areas there is less impact of the project shall be acquired by the government. So, after examining all these reports and ensuring that only less impact is being made in that area, the government shall publish the decision. So the final decision must be published in the local language, made available at panchayat or municipality offices, collectors and tehsildar offices, and also it shall be uploaded in the government website. So the decision of acquiring the land or not acquiring the land shall be made available in the local language in the panchayat and municipal offices and also in the government website. So we will take a quick recap of the whole social impact assessment. So I have made some keywords to remember the whole procedure, that is draft, debate, display, discuss and decide. So under section 4 the draft of SIA report is made, and then that draft is sent for public hearing under section 5. Then it is displayed to the public under section 6, and then the SIA report is sent to the expert committee for discussing, and lastly the government will make the decision under section 8. So this is the simple way for remembering the procedure for conducting the social impact assessment. So there is one exemption under section 9 where the government is not under obligation for conducting the social impact assessment. So when the government urgently needs the land, then the government, according to section 9, exempt or skip the part of conducting the social impact assessment and can directly acquire the land. So this is the exemption under section 9. So this is the first stage of acquiring a land, and the other steps I'll explain in the next video. So that's all in this video. I hope you all have understood it. Thank you.